In a case like this, I think it's a case of first impression. And so it doesn't strike me as odd. Um, I don't know that there's necessarily a downside to the investigators saying this is what we've got. They have an interest in within the confines of ethics, because you always have to remember the again, innocent until proven guilty. There's really nothing that says that they can't come forward with all that and paint the picture early on and say this guy did it. Um, it makes it very difficult for the defense. Some might feel as though that is kind of improperly tainting eventual jury pool, but that's the way it is in today's media, social media, and high profile nature of criminal justice. There's going to be motions to suppress. They're going to challenge the legality of the searches that ultimately turned all this up. And, that's the one thing you're not going to hear the investigators or the prosecution talking about at this early stage. Any sort of missteps that they may have taken, any sort of intelligence that they may have obtained by through a questionable method. So that we could find down the road, learn new things about this, and that was in play here. So obviously the defense team is going to take a hard look at that. But I also think there's going to be a lot involved with his mental state and what happened with this kid from, I think most of us have seen, I believe it's a video that's gone out there where he's reading his acceptance letter from that college, and, gives a perception of kind of just a wide-eyed, high school student. If he's 22 now, it was only a handful of years ago that he was a kid. He was 16, 17, appearing pretty jubilant about this offer that he got. He ended up going there for 6 months and then dropped out. If I recall, it was a free ride for the whole term. What happened? Was there mental health history with him? We haven't heard anything, because again, there's nobody on the defense side to speak on his behalf. And that might not be a bad thing, because they shouldn't be trying to do toe-to-toe battle with the prosecutors right now. That's a losing proposition. But rather to just kind of sit and wait and look at all of the different angles and then come in and say, not so fast. Here's a problem with the way you obtained this evidence. Here's what happened with this guy psychologically. For purposes of mitigation or getting the case thrown out as a criminal matter and turning it into a matter of hospitalization and insanity. I don't know that this is really something yet that seems to be central to this whole investigation, but we all have seen the just almost out of nowhere development of AI. I mean, and what a year ago was a video that was amazing to all of us, but we knew it was artificial. It just looked like it. And now we're seeing stuff that you just look at it and I cannot tell that and now, all of the evidence so far that's frozen in time. He's not doing anything now, but things like, text messages or any of the digital evidence that might still be found. They might find something that was manufactured after the fact, and the ability for people to play with that and to create things that look just like the real thing. As time goes on, it becomes more and more unbelievable, and it's the sort of thing that I could see being proposed at a trial to a jury, whether it was necessarily what happened in this case. If I'm the defense attorney and if I have an opportunity, I'm going to plant that seed of doubt. And I'm going to talk about the fact that how much have you seen? And by that time, they'll have seen a great deal more. How much do you see out there that it looks like it's just an absolute real video? There'll come a time where nobody can tell the difference. I have people in my life that I have these conversations about, and they tend to kind of go across the spectrum. And one in particular is adamant. There's no way they're pulling the death penalty off the table. Well, okay. Again, I think that there's political political voices in this one that you don't have that in the Kohlberger case. I think that venue, arguably more conservative, more law and order, more likely for a jury to return a verdict of guilty uh, than Utah. Although again, I think rather conservative. Both of these are fairly certain red states. Um, but you also have to, I think, you have to take into account what down the road. I think one of the if that becomes a thing, if there is if there's contemplation about lifting the death penalty in an effort to get a plea to the charge without going through all of that, sparing his wife and family and other people from having to go through that, and that's something that woman who lost her husband just days before she went on there and said, "I forgive him," um, who may want that justice, may not. We don't know, and we couldn't say now what will be the case 2 to 3 years from now. Would that be the loudest voice out there that prosecutors would listen to? So that all remains to be seen. But there's no question that one of the differences that you can expect in this case is that political voice. Now, that whether or not it comes to trial or it gets to that point while he's still in office, if it's a changing of the guard, that could change things. So many different things that can affect which way the winds blow in this.